Good evening and welcome to the December 9th, 2024 Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join us in the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I look for a motion to approve the December 2nd meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to accept the warrants from December 2nd.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We don't have payroll yet. And it looks like we do not have any warrants from this week yet. Would someone read the announcements, please?
The transfer station is now on winter hours, which is Wednesdays and Sunday from 11 to 4 p.m. and Saturday 9 to 4 p.m. The Budget Committee will meet on Thursday, December 12th at 7 p.m. to discuss Select Board templates. The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, December 18th at 7 p.m. and the Select Board will meet on Monday, December 16th at 7 p.m. There will be a special town meeting on Monday, December 23rd at 7 p.m. to discuss the warrant articles to commit the ARPA funds. Snow date of Monday, December 30th at 7 p.m. The Appeals Board has 2 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the Select Board admin if interested, 793-4475. And as a reminder, if you're speaking at any meetings, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing of citizen policy, no personal attacks on any individual and firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. And please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And the nomination papers will be available Friday, December 13th, and they must be in on 4:30 on Monday, January 13th. The following positions are available. Select Board, 3-year term. There's 2 of those. Road Commissioner, 2-year term. Trustee of the Limerick Sewage District, 3-year term. Planning Board member, 3-year term. Library Trustee, 3-year term. Budget Committee member, 3-year term. Director of RSU 57, 3-year term. And Trustee of the Limerick Water District, 3-year term. Planning Board member, 3-year term. Library Trustee, 3-year term. And a Budget Committee member, 3-year term. So.
And those nomination papers are available now. It seems like that might have been a typo, but
It got changed.
it got changed.
Yeah.
Okay. For department reports, we have the Budget Committee here to review the warrant and recommendations. I do only see 2 members, so I don't know how we should go forward with it. We should still go. But we couldn't get their recommendations because there is not a quorum, if I understand correctly.
I agree with that. Do you know if Stephanie's coming? And I know that we talked about it briefly on Thursday. I think I expect her to be here. Maybe we do a different department report and come back to it if she does.
So for the time being, we will go to the next one. We'll have Scott, the Road Commissioner.
So I guess there was an issue with paving on Range Road. You guys were holding payment. It really wasn't that bad. And I had spoke with Charlie from Carroll Materials, and they have a plan in place to fix it in the spring. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on all that.
I know that there were a few complaints and worries about the condition of the road. It felt like a rumble strip is what I was told.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a rumble, and that happened, like basically the ground moved underneath it when they were rolling it.
Okay.
I'm more than glad to talk about it if you'd like.
Okay. Yes, please.
Now acceptable?
Yep.
My name is Charlie Emerson. I am the operations manager at Carroll Materials. So I was away on vacation, and somebody notified me that the board had held payment and talked about this publicly. First of all, I apologize. I would have came sooner if I'd known there was an issue. I know that there's an issue with the road. I talked to Scott about it. So what had happened is the steepness of that hill, the trucks, as they were rolling away from the paver, as they turned on the engine brakes, they started to hop and skid down the hill, and the hill's quite steep, which we had problems when we reclaimed it. There were a few individuals that got stuck going up the hill. It's very steep. I had a hard time going with the grader, and I was the one out there that day grading. So I put one of my guys on a roller in front of the paver to try and negate where the dirt was moving. What happened to us, though, is there's a bit of sandy material in that downhill section, and you'll notice if you're coming up the hill, there's a very short section in the middle of the road that is very rough, and I know all about it. I've ridden it I don't know how many times. And the downhill section is probably, I would estimate, I was gonna wait and measure it in the spring, because there's absolutely nothing we can do about it right now. I would say about 600 feet that is rough towards the center of the road. What happened is pavement, until it sets up, is it moves quite easily, especially in a downhill. And you got a roller going down through there, and you get that little sandy material on top. It just kept moving and moving and moving and moving, which caused the rumble. 'Cause the roller is trying to hammer as it's going down the hill, and it just kept snowballing. So the only way to fix it, and it's a very easy fix, much cheaper than if we'd have put 6 inches of gravel on, which I estimated this afternoon would have been between $70,000 and $75,000, which would have been a huge expense for that road. So the fix will be is that we'll set on top of it and we'll shim it. We'll use 9.5, just like we're gonna use on the surface. We'll do a very thin shim down through there, which will fill the holes. We'll roll that, pinch it, that it gets back to smooth. Like I say, one side's about 600 feet long. It could be 500, it could be 700. I'm just estimating. The other side's a couple hundred feet long, and it's right near the very center of the road. So we'll shim those two rough sections, and then we'll throw an inch of surface on the whole thing. I was a little perplexed that you guys had held a payment. I mean, I understand your concerns, but if you look at the payment that you're withholding, it's for shoulder gravel on a couple of the roads, not just paving. So and we do work hard for our money, and the road's not done. It's still getting a surface treatment, and I would say that you're probably looking somewhere between 1 and 2 loads to shim that road. And that, like I say, that, I mean, I figured at 1,500 feet, it would be 50 tons of material, far cheaper than gravel in the road. So we just set over it, pull it with the paver, roll it, it'll be back to smooth. We set on one end, trim the butt joints, and come down through there. So that should negate any of the issues. But I can't do a thing about it till spring, so. If you guys have any questions for me?
What would you have done if this happened in the middle of June?
June, I mean, it would have been simple. I'd have been putting the surface right on it. So it'd have been absolute nothing deal. I would have simply just sat back, pulled a load of shim, and when I had smooth, I'd just set back and trim my joints and put my surface on it. The problem is, I don't know if you remember, but we did get this quite late in the year, and I struggled to get it done, but I got done everything that we agreed to do. The only thing that we both agreed it was better for the town and the road to hold up and put the surface on the spring. We reclaimed the road, so if you got any deficiencies anywhere, such as settling at a pipe or the deficiency we have in the rumble strip, we can easily fix that now. We just sit in, put a little shim across it. If we've got, the other thing is if we do have any other areas that are gonna act up, we've got all winter for them to act up. So we can easily take care of it in the spring, so.
Your total contract was how much?
The total contract was 306,823.80. I don't know what it came up after the shoulder gravel and the billing. That was the initial agreed upon price was the 306,823.80. Whether we've come in under that or over, I don't know. It certainly would be under because we haven't put the surface on Range E Road.
And is that, the bill with the check we're holding, I believe is 121,000? Is that all you've billed of the 306,000?
No, I think they've had another,
I want to say there's another bill.
for Burnham Road and Park Street
Right.
paving.
And then, was the reclaim in this one, or was that in the first one?
I don't know, it might have been in the first one, that was just for the.
Yeah, there would have been another one that had the reclaim in it for Rangy Road.
So of the 306,000, how much are you owed, have you held out for work to be done next year? Do you know?
Surface, 510, so probably somewhere in the 530 to 550 tons at 106.50. So you'd be, I'd say just under 60,000. And then, but you are gonna have one other small expense, and that'd be the, we're gonna re-shoulder gravel Rangy. Scott and I both talked about it, that we felt that it was better to shoulder gravel it twice, in the sense that we had just put that new asphalt down. We didn't want to lose the edges to erosion / the plow dragging down the edge. So we've shoulder gravelled it once, and then you basically you would have the same cost incurred there. So you would have roughly 10,798 on the shoulder gravel, because it's by the foot.
If this was done in June, are we doing that twice?
This was, we agreed to do it. I didn't even have the work in June. How can you?
What do you mean, what, I don't understand that. So when did we contract with you to do the work?
I don't know. It was pretty late. It should be a signature on the back of that one. Yeah. August 12th. So I'm saying, I got this real late in the year, and I struggled to get it done. I did the best I could. I'd be glad to do your work earlier in the year, but you gotta give it to me sooner. I can do your work, I'd love to take care of you guys first in the year if you wanna contract me to do your work sooner.
So we knew in March we had the approval for $300,000 to pave roads. How come it was 6 months before we contracted with them, do you know?
You didn't even come out to bid till just before that.
Yeah, July.
We had to process a wait for the bids to come in and then bid opening.
I reached out to Alicia to ask you guys about if instead of putting it out to bid, if we could just have them
Yeah.
do it, because they would have done it earlier. But then, because of the whole bidding process,
I mean, where we are in the hometown, I realize that you may have, I don't know what your rules are, every town's a little different. I'm only throwing this out there that I would love to do your work all the time, and I'm sure that we've done it with other towns further north, is come to an arranged agreement on, say, a 3-year contract, so that I could take care of you in the spring. Right now, I can't do your work until you guys say, okay, I've got 300,000 to spend, and these are the roads that we want to do. I mean, he calls me, I come ride the roads whenever he wants. You know, just like you guys say you want me to look at the parking lot, I come up that day and I measure it, which I didn't know, but you guys apparently have been talking about that, and I'd be more than glad to come meet the board and walk the parking lot with you and come up with a different alternative, because I agree with this nice gentleman I just met tonight that we probably should actually take the parking lot apart and start from scratch. But like I say, if I had you work in June, I'd try to get your work done sooner, but I can't.
Yep, so I guess I didn't know there was such a delay. I mean, when we know in March, I guess we can assume that March, we're gonna know how much we have to spend. That would be the time to figure out how far you're gonna be able to take it. I guess we just gotta get it out to bid earlier.
We just need, yeah, because Scott did contact, but we
We need to
needed to
get
do
it
the
out.
bid process, and that is a little process,
is-
so.
And I do this with a lot of towns. I rode with 2 towns today. I go out and I give them, you know, okay, you got 8,500 feet of road, I'm gonna put down a budgetary number, and this is about what it's gonna cost. I mean, none of us have a crystal ball.
Yep.
yeah, so we did that last year.
Yeah, and so I'm glad we come do that at any time, just like excuse me, I told you I would come walk the parking lot with you again and give you I mean, I have been doing this a couple days. I know I only look 19, but.
That's true.
So,
Like I say, I mean, I would love it if you guys would release pavement. I mean, we are a very local company. We do employ a lot of people from town. And I had no idea that there was any funds held up, but,
I guess, we did agree to hold the payment because we want to talk to you.
yeah, but I would come to
there's-
you anytime.
I know, I don't think there's any reservations from me or anybody else that you're gonna do a good job and do what you agreed to do. Maybe I wanted to know how much of the work was left to be done, how much money was left to be done. Was that the final payment or not?
No.
So, and it does make it a little, and I guess, unfortunately for you guys, going back 2 years ago, when you did have, I think, a little more notice, we did kind of lose out at the end of the season to get stuff done. So that, to be honest, left a bad taste in some mouths, mine, I'll admit it. So now we're looking at the same thing and saying, oh man, here we are now 2 years later, and we're back at the end of the list. Now I understand why after hearing from you, and understand, I got no issue releasing the check. I mean, you've done the work. But there was a lot of citizens that were concerned, and I think, yeah.
Him and I actually talked about it, I wanna say the night after we actually had paved it. We talked and said, hey, we got a rough spot up there, this is what I wanna do, we'll set on it, we'll pull a quick shim. He totally understood, and like I say, had I known you guys had any reservations, because I don't hear everything that you guys hear.
No.
I knew that there were some grumblings, yes, absolutely. And there's gonna be grumblings if I have the smoothest road in town, unfortunately. So, anytime you ever have any questions, if you don't have my name or number, you call him, I'll be up here anytime. To look at any road you have. As far as I'm concerned, we've been a long-standing taxpayer in this town, and we love to do work for you, and we'd love to continue to do so, and make sure that we leave good work behind.
Yeah, and again, I don't think anybody had any reservations that would be the end result. It's just with the complaints we had, or the concerns, we just felt it warranted. The check, I think it was only last week that it came out, so.
The first I heard of it was, I was on actually vacation,
Yep.
on a hunting trip, and I got a little nasty gram, hey, they're talking about you and holding a check, and I'm like, what? But anyways, like I say, you've got my name and number, I'll gladly come up anytime you want, and I recommend the parking lot, just so that we don't get in the same thing next year, where you had brought up that there's some concerns about other things we should do to the parking lot. We got a tremendous amount of rain coming Wednesday. If you guys can get together at all, or a few of you, I'd be one to come up, glad, walk with you, come up with a plan, or at least what it would cost to do it, what we would consider maybe the right way, instead of
It
just
definitely
Band-Aid.
needs a complete,
It does.
start from scratch.
Well, that's more expensive, so.
It's always the
Any
way.
questions?
Does anybody have a problem releasing that check? No. Do you have the check? You can take it with you tonight if you'd like.
Oh, if you have it, that'd be great.
Yeah, it was written, and we approved it. We just wanted to hold it until we had a chance to talk to you.
No problem at all.
Yeah. Julie can give it to you
It's not
tonight.
made out to you, though, so you can't run away with it.
Maybe this Christmas time.
That's true.
Everybody all set?
You and your boss.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Well, so you have a great holiday. You want to get together to walk that, do somebody call me, and I'll come right up.
Yep.
I didn't hear you. Raymond, paving Raymond all the time? Yes, ma'am. The road commissioner knows me very well.
We're gonna need a piece of that.
He's really nice.
A little something back on whatever she gives you.
Limerick. No, I'm gonna make four-way stop at Emery Corner, Pickle Pond Road. We have those signs. We're gonna get them up maybe before Christmas, but I don't know. I had to order some new traffic pattern ahead signs to put up,
Yep.
and we probably should consider advertising, maybe a week or so, or maybe even a couple weeks in the paper.
Thanks so much, you two, thanks.
About the new traffic pattern.
Yeah.
Just let me know, I can do it.
Just to kind of give people a heads up.
Yep.
Especially for people.
Kind of like an FYI thing going to happen, or when it happens, advertising.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Then after,
I'll type something and send it to you, you can let me know.
and I got a quote to take down some ash trees, dead ones on Stonehill Road. Wade probably knows where I'm talking about. From Trips Tree Service of 6,500. There's like a dozen trees. They're pretty good size. I don't know if you want me to get another price or
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, going by the purchase policy, we would have to get another price. It has to go through the bid process probably, if it's over 2,500. So if you could try to get a couple more, or at least one more price.
And it's trying, because there have been times when
Yeah.
I've made multiple calls and emails and can't get, like, so.
Trip was really good. He came
That's
out
who ended up when we
2
had it
days
out,
later,
yeah,
so.
so.
And he said he can do it like in January too, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can get another price, that's not a problem.
Alrighty.
But if he's gonna do the work, do you have the money in this year's budget?
I think so, yeah. Or we could probably use that money that it's in that,
Road fund account?
yeah, 'cause that would work.
Yep.
There's actually a lot of dead trees around that we should consider.
Yeah,
We have ones marked here. Has he been here yet, Wade? The ones, he has been here, huh?
he's been here. Did he email that to you?
No, I haven't
He's
got
supposed to
anything.
email you that
Okay.
last week, 2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
all right. Yeah, no, because we have a bunch here, too.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Thank you. Nope. Thank you, Scott. All right, Chief Pelletier.
While he's walking up there, there isn't anybody else who's gonna be joining us from the budget committee tonight, so we can't do their portion of it, unfortunately, but we can still have the conversation. I don't think we need to do it during department reports,
Okay.
unless you guys wanna be here for that, and then certainly, because I think what we need to do is just change some of the wording in the articles and make sure that it makes sense and get it back to you guys for your next meeting. So if you guys wanna stay, I think it makes sense to keep it there, otherwise, we can just put it at the end.
Hi. All right, November department report, total calls for the month was 56. That brought us to, as of today, 611 calls for the year. The 56, 15 were fire, 41 were EMS, and we went mutual aid 17 times in November. Professional development of our members, we currently have 2 members in the basic EMT program at York County College. And we have 1 member who's going to be attending the York County Fire Academy starting in January to get his firefighter 1, firefighter 2 certification. Staffing, our December shifts are all filled. We've added a few people, 7 people over the last 2 months, actually. We're just having a lucky streak, I guess. So we have a paramedic that has moved into town. He's looking to do the call company and work per diem. We have another paramedic that has moved to the area looking to work per diem for us. Actually, he's an advanced EMT, he'll be a paramedic soon. And then we have another paramedic that was actually on the fire department in the past, coming back, joining the department again, who's also a paramedic. So we're picking up 3 paramedics, which is huge for us because we currently only have 3 paramedics. That essentially doubles our numbers for our paramedic, and we have gained a couple more advanced EMTs, 3 in the last couple weeks. So that's big. That's a big gain for our department that ensures we can staff at the advanced life support level 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we're heading in a good direction there. And then we have 1 person, another younger guy that moved into town. His wife bought a house, moved in Limerick, looking to get involved in just the call company. That's the same guy that's going to the firefighter 1 and 2 training in January. So it's good. We're having people moving into the area and getting involved. So it's good for the department, good for the community. Subscription ambulance, those mailings should be going out probably tomorrow or Wednesday. We paid the printing company last week for the postage, so they should be getting that to the post office in Limerick, hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll get that out on our social media. The program has not changed. The prices are the same. The rules are the same. So we'll have those out in the mail. And then I spoke to Alicia today. We'll talk about getting out to the lake associations and other people in town that don't necessarily have a mailbox on their summer home or their second home, whatnot. So the brush truck, that is back from Massachusetts finally. The pump and tank are installed. Lettering is scheduled for Monday in Waterboro. The lights, sirens, radios, all that stuff is in. We just got to work on getting that stuff installed, and that project will finally be put to rest, hopefully. Fire station update. The apparatus floor was sealed last week. It was done by Great Falls. We used some extra money, so we had $10,000 set aside for the landscaping, plantings, the trees and shrubs, whatnot. We spent about $6,000 on that, so I spoke with the project manager, and so we're going to utilize the rest of that funds in that last line in the whole project to take the floor ceiling. So that's designed to keep the salt from deteriorating the concrete, basically. With trucks coming in and out, and chemicals on the roads nowadays can really eat up the concrete pretty quick, so that'll protect that. The door that got damaged, that's scheduled to be repaired this week. The door company's also going to be installing indicator lights on the sides of the doors, a green light and a red light, which indicates, the green light indicates the door is fully open. People can safely go out the door, and then we're going to look to get safety grant from Maine Municipal. We missed the window this year for the laser sensors that cover the complete opening, so if any part of the vehicle is in the opening, the doors will not come down. So we're making an effort to not have that event happen again, hopefully, ever. Let's see. So the Maine EMS stabilization grant we received in the spring was $15,000. We have to spend, or at least have that money encumbered by December 31st, so we've been working on that. I gave you a list, so we have spent some of that money already. We spent $900. We paid 50% of one of our members' advanced EMT program. Newfield paid the other half. We needed new batteries for our stretchers and a charging system. They're very expensive, about $700 a battery, which is highway robbery, but that's what they get for them. So we got those in already. The other big part, what we're looking to do with that money is implement a cold water / ice rescue program. We currently do not have that capability, and given the ponds and waterways in our town and the neighboring communities, it's a good resource to have. So we're going to invest some of that money in that. It's $2,500 for the technician level training. That should train 10 people to the technician level. Cold water suits are about $3,000 to purchase 4 of those, so we can have a team out in the ice rescuing and a backup team on the shore that can help them if they get in trouble. That's, OSHA standards, obviously. Ropes, helmets, and other miscellaneous equipment's a little bit more money. We did purchase new EMS bags for the ambulance. Each ambulance will have a brand new EMS bag. The ones we have are old and beat up. And the last item we're hoping to get, it's going to be the last priority, unfortunately, narcotics lockers. They're kind of like the Knox box, but they're for narcotics in the ambulance. So people have a PIN code to get in, get narcotics, so it tracks who's going in there, when, and if there's ever an issue, you can track who's in those boxes. Those are about $2,000 a piece, so that adds up to 15. So if anything goes a little over, we might have to cut something back. But so that money was stabilization money, similar to ARPA, state throwing money at EMS departments primarily to keep us alive. There's a lot of departments struggling to retain people or keep equipment maintained and stay in business. There's ambulance services that are going under due to funding and pandemic labor issues. People really shied away from fire and EMS during the pandemic. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to be exposed to it. Nationally, I've been in this business 30 years, and this last couple of years is the worst I've seen people getting out of this industry. So that was a goal. That was their goal, to get money out there. There's another chunk of money coming out, hopefully the beginning of next year. I think our number is right around the same range, around 15,000. It's based on call volume primarily. So I don't know what the goal of that money is. This one was equipment and training, primarily retaining and attracting employees. So that's what we're doing with that money. I think it's a good use of it. We'll get an ice rescue team together. We have an ice rescue sled that was donated to us by Orchard Beach Fire Department, which is a good savings. Those are probably close to 10 grand nowadays, I would guess. But we'll also work with our neighbors. I believe Waterboro has ice rescue. We'll try to set up joint response with our neighboring communities. So if we have an incident in Limerick, they will come and assist us. If Waterboro or another neighbor has an issue, we will go and assist them. So it helps, especially with the manpower levels that we all have during the day, during the week. Might not be a lot of people kicking around to get enough people out there to, get a person out of the ice or even an animal out of the ice. So I think it's a good use of the money. The last item, you guys talked about this, I think it was last week, the medical equipment from the Lions Club. It's still in the Brick Town Hall. We did thin it out a bit when Brady did the clean out with the Building Advisory Committee. We thinned out some of the stuff that was kind of junky. But the plan now is, so Sockopee Rescue is starting a program. They have a couple storage units, I believe in Parsons Field. They want to take all that equipment and whatever else they've gathered up, and they'll continue to have that loaner program. So somebody needs crutches, a wheelchair, and there's some other devices. So they'll still be available. We'll let people know, if they need something, call the fire department. It's a little more logistically harder to do than just walking across the street to Brick Town Hall and getting what they need, but people don't have transportation, we'll coordinate with our crew and the Sockopee crew. They can go grab crutches or a wheelchair or whatever, meet us at the town line, and we'll pick it up and bring it to the people. So the service will still be there, it's just, a little more work involved, but at the end of the day, it's a good program, it helps people out. We hopefully spoke to the Sockopee Rescue Chief last week. We're gonna try to pull something together this week to actually get that stuff moved out of there. That is all I have. Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I will have Casey Gray with updates on the town-owned properties.
Thank you for having me. Just to start with the properties that we have under contract. Map 39, Lot 105 on Dog Road. We had granted an extension actually beyond 11/29, sorry for my bad typing. And the extension is good until we can determine and notify potential heirs of the ownership. The current lien is against a different person than where the title rests. And Stan's made some tremendous efforts with the court to gather some records so those people can be found. Those records should be coming this week for us to sort through and determine if we can find those people. Map 39, Lot 106, Dog Road, is supposed to close on the 13th. I had followed up with their title company today to see if I could gather closing documents for Friday, and the title company actually requested an extension, which I have, and the title company had requested to extend till next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, so that they could have all of their paperwork ready for next Monday's meeting. So if I could get your vote to agree to extend Lot 106 Dog Road until December 20th.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to extend to December 20th, map 39, lot 106, Dog Road.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Map 38, lot 106 Raptor Ridge had requested an extension till December 31st last week, and we're upset when we said we would extend 2 weeks rather than a month, and they've sent a termination and release, which I have for your signatures tonight so that we can put it back on the market tomorrow. 12 Range E Road, I followed up with their buyer agent. They're with their title company. I didn't receive any response to my follow-up before the meeting, and we'll continue to follow up. They're currently scheduled to close on December 31st. Map 42, Lot 297 on Claymore Terrace. Proof of funds and deposit are in. It's with title, and I expect a smooth closing on December 20th. Same for map 42, lot 230 on Nob Hill Road, map 42, lot 131 on Nob Hill Road, and map 41 on lot 290 on Arrowhead Lane. Our currently listed property actually received 3 offers this week. We just have the one current listing. And that's for map 41, lot 231 Arrowhead, which is currently listed for $20,000. Offers in order of receipt, offer 1 offered a price of $7,500 with a $500 deposit, not subject to inspections, cash with no proof of funds provided, and a closing date of December 23rd. Offer number 2 offered $25,000 with a $2,000 deposit. It is not subject to inspections. It was a cash offer with proof of funds provided and a closing date of January 3rd, 2025. Offer 3, which was our buyer from last week who came back, offered $20,000, subject to a number of inspections. The dates were corrected and some of the weird ones were taken out. A cash offer, subject to proof of funds provided within 3 days and a closing date of January 7th. I would recommend to accept offer number 2. Would the board like to vote?
Motion, we accept offer 2 for map 41, lot 231.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Shall we talk about the special town meeting warrant now? Okay. I know there is a deadline that has to be met for, Dee Dee needs all the stuff by Friday. So, I don't know where we would go from here.
At the budget committee meeting on Thursday.
No, they sent out an email, they weren't going to meet again.
There,
They weren't gonna meet again until January. Oh, I know,
Well,
well,
I wasn't saying about this one coming. I was just going to update on the last meeting. I think in order to have this special
Well,
town meeting, we
I
have to have
ask, yeah, if
recommendations
they
from the
will-
budget
yeah, if they-
committee.
yes.
Yes. So, all of that to say, at the budget committee meeting that we had last Thursday, there was question just, I think really it comes down to the wording of the articles. And for the dam and the fire and EMS accounts, like the necessity of those, what's our priority on those, what's the plan for the funds when they get there, specifically for the fire and EMS gear. And the other question that Stephanie had was, because there's already a capital project or a capital account for their gear, did we need to make another one? So I think it maybe makes sense to go through one at a time. Alicia, you've changed the wording already, is that right? That's what
Yeah.
these are. So then we just need to, I think, clarify and make our recommendations again at this point. I don't know if anyone, Alicia, if you had any more information on the dam?
I sent the deed to the budget committee today.
Excellent, thank you.
and the question on the fire EMS was just what the priority was for like the gear.
I think first ours, like our capital project priority, and kind of where that falls, and does it make sense to put the taxpayers' money into this account now for this stuff, if I'm stating that correctly. And they all had, their opinions and things to say. So I personally feel like this account, whether it's the one we already have or creating a new one, the gear is necessary. That's my feel on it, and so I would recommend a yes vote on it.
We already did, right?
We're changing the wording. Do we have to vote again? Everything, the articles are at least 2 of them are rewritten?
Article 2 is different wording, and Article 5 doesn't need a recommendation, but.
Right.
And actually, I added on 4, I didn't give
Balance.
myself a new copy.
And what is the difference between a capital reserve account and a special reserve account? Is there? Am I just misunderstanding that?
Well, I think a capital reserve account can be used, so we could set up a capital reserve account
Yep.
to do energy improvements.
Yep.
If it's a special capital reserve account, I think it has to be very specific
Okay.
to changing lights.
Gotcha.
Is that? The individual item, so it would have to be like, we're going to specifically replace the boiler in this building with an updated boiler.
Okay.
So that would become a special.
Yeah. And I think that was just bringing up more of the question from the budget committee. Another one of the questions is, with the remaining balance of the ARPA money, what is the plan?
And the priorities, what are the priorities for the
Yes.
upgrade?
Yes, and while, like, the money has to be designated by the end of this year, right, but spent by the end of next year. So just to make, like, what is our list of tasks? I knew, at the time I could spout off the heat pumps, but as far as other priorities under that, I wasn't able to explain that.
Well, one thing we talked about was we are consider putting a mini splitter heat pump in the scout hall. So that would definitely be an upgrade for there.
Lighting.
Lighting in there would be upgraded. I think,
Insulation, ceiling, that kind of thing.
yeah, and I don't know that we're gonna expend all of it in that building. I mean, I
Right.
think we would look at maybe doing some lighting upgrades in this building from, to some LED stuff. We're not gonna have, we have talked about putting some mini splits in here to help this building cool. We might have enough money to do a couple, but we're not gonna certainly do the whole building.
Those have tax incentives so that you get money back.
They do? Yeah, there's credits on them.
Yeah, there's credits on them from the state and federal.
Yep.
There are some advantages to those.
I think almost anything you do that's an energy
Right.
upgrade.
But there's some really good from federal and state.
Yep.
So then I guess, do we make the recommendations on the ones that have changed? Or do we
I
go
think we
by?
should, if they're changing, we
Yeah.
need to re-vote on them
Yeah.
and make a recommendation.
Is there any motions?
So, Article 2, I recommend a yes on shall the town transfer $26,815 from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to the Capital Reserve Account, Fire and EMS gear.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
And recommend a yes vote?
I recommended a yes vote to have it on the special town meeting, yes.
Right, and I'll abstain from that because I'm on the fire department. And for Article 4?
I make a recommendation that we put on the special town meeting, Article 4, shall the town transfer the remaining balance of the American Rescue Plan Act Fund account and establish a special reserve account for energy efficient upgrades at town-owned properties, and recommend a yes vote. note to the remaining balance, approximately 25,267.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? So that being said, the select board recommended yes votes on the ones that needed recommendations. Budget committee, we haven't had recommendations yet. So are we gonna ask them to come on Thursday? If we could?
At their next soonest possible convenience, I think is, I know, I'm sorry.
So Thursday should work probably, so we can reach out to, or could you guys reach out? Thank you. Of course. All right. Is that all on the warrant?
You guys need to vote on 5 anyway, just because we haven't been on that yet.
Okay.
Just
On
have
the-
it on.
Is there any motion to add article or not add Article 5? And I will read it. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to accept a public easement over portions of Alair Drive, abutting property of Southern Maine Modular, Inc., more particularly shown on tax map 23, lots 48B-2, 48B-4, and 48B-6, and authorize the select board to execute any and all documents it deems necessary to complete such acceptance.
Make a motion, we approve Article 5 for the special town meeting as read.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All right. That is all on that. I do see Joanne on department reports, but I don't see her here.
I think Joanne was going to talk about, and I gave you each, it's probably the last thing in your packet. It
Thank you,
was the bicentennial. She found the original invitation. So the Historical Society they're kind of taking the reins on the project, which I talked to Dell, but they are including the rec and the library. I think the big question was the funding for this. So I think that they feel there definitely should be some funding set aside. 4th of July weekend, or 4th of July, around 4th of July sounded okay to them, but also the original one happened in August. So I don't know if, definitely between July and August, I believe it will happen for sure. But the Historical Society is definitely on board with it all. So I don't know with our budget season if we want to include some funds more so than we already have. Well, I don't think we've designated anything in particular at this time.
The rec director get together with them, and he includes some funds in his budget for that?
Well, I don't think that he has put any in his, no. The problem is, I mean, I don't know if they're going to meet by January 13 when this warrant is due. So I don't know if we want to set something into his budget to start. I don't think until you really get into the depths of planning, they're going to know how much it might be.
Why don't we email him, ask him to reach out to them, and if next week he doesn't have a number, we will use our best judgment and put something in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Exactly what they did. That was a lot of fun.
Whole weekend or two, something.
Yes. The festival.
Started on a Monday. All right, that is all I had for department reports. Moving on to old business, review of legal accounts. We do not have warrants this week, so I have not seen a bill. Cemetery mowing, veterans / cemetery committee. There's nothing new on that. Is there anything new on the shelter survey?
I talked to the EMA director today, so because of that storm that happened in April and all of the paperwork for FEMA in that emergency, he said that it's kind of been on the back burner. He's got already, a lot on his plate there, which is reasonable. But he said he should have it done relatively soon. I'm hoping to have more information on that next week. To update FEMA, he said likely we'll have 2 checks coming in the near future. That could be good. And he said he can be helpful in determining kind of how to put that back into the accounts that paid out on that emergency. He also had an update on the generator that's being worked on. He said hasn't been serviced. I think we already knew in a long time, 11 years. It started right up at first, and then it wouldn't start after that. The battery is original to the generator, and it may require some more work, so there'll be more updates on that. I don't know if they'll come from me, but there will be more.
All right, thank you. Squad truck, for more information and bids, the squad truck can be found on www.govdeals.com. There's also an ad posted in the shopping guide this week.
Local people have questions, who are they to call for those?
They can go online, they can submit online.
Okay. And where is the truck for viewing?
Up at the old fire station inside, or,
Okay.
Yep,
no? Yes,
it's inside the old station. So I don't know if they'd have to make an appointment or if it was just put in there for the snowstorm, probably. I can follow up with the fire chief and see.
yeah, if they want to look at it, there's a link online for them to call and make an appointment.
Okay. So that can stay as is. But yeah, it is definitely posted on there. I did review it last week, so. Update Microsoft Exchange email. We are working on a date with Modem Waves. Yep.
Modem Waves is recommending that officials like the town clerk, the tax collector, et cetera, have an email address that says tax collector at Limerick ME versus the name. The CEO, secretary, the CEO, the select board admin all have a title in their email address. And he says if that happens, it's easy when there's transition to keep the records intact and they're not all over the place. And it meets the state's records retention rules. But if that's done, that means that anywhere that these officials have their email address today, like D. Tibbetts or J. LePage, they would have to change all of these places where they have that email address. So I just want to know, what do you want us to do?
Is that something that could be like down the road? The current people who are in office as of now could keep their, and it's just my thought, keep their emails, and then when we get a new treasurer, we get a new tax collector, then that's when it would switch, when there's already a change of
Anything's possible.
passing of the batons.
Anything's possible. But will anybody remember? Anything's possible. Just costs money, that's all.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but
Makes sense to have them, I mean, like our, secretary, to have it say that. I don't know about changing the middle, but
In this, because right now it's her name
yes.
versus a title of, and I don't know, Julie, what's been your experience with that kind of thing with the IRS and with, do they want a name or do they accept treasurer at limerickme.org?
Either way,
Either way, okay, all right.
because the J. Giles is already registered with the IRS.
It's everywhere,
Yeah.
I know, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Now we do a change.
And you would have to,
A lot of stuff.
yes, I know.
And I can appreciate that. I know that, I mean, their positions are elected every 3 years. Maybe I know if they're reelected at that time, maybe
Well, if
makes
somebody
sense, we can
remembers
change
to
it
do
then.
that,
I
yeah.
know.
And somebody's in office
Yeah.
at that moment in time to remember to do that. Okay, I'm just saying. So we'll just leave it as it is. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, because I just want to know.
We can talk about
So we
it
can
some
tell
more, but for
Mr.
now,
Motor
yeah.
Waves.
I think we should keep Julie's until our $1 million come in.
Yeah, let's not take any risk on that.
I'd rather not be changing that one with,
Yeah.
that's just my little secretary opinion.
Well, let me know because. Or let Alicia know if you have any thoughts on it, because this is imminent.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I know I'm not a speaker, and I'm sorry, I'll go if you really want it. SOP. Set up an SOP, and that's already done for whenever you want to do it.
Thank you. Budget 2025 update and review. We do have some stuff to go over. We did receive the donation, or I have the donation requests.
We're missing a couple.
We're missing
We normally do.
missing a few that we normally do. Do these request a certain amount? Okay, so we have a request from Life Flight of Maine for $797. We have a request from Lake Stewards of Maine, the Volunteer Lake Monitoring Program, in the amount of $500. American Red Cross is looking for a donation of $500. St. Matthew Roman Catholic Church is looking for a donation of $1,200.
That's for the food pantry, right?
Yeah.
For the food pantry. And the Pickerel Pond Association is requesting a donation of $2,500 for the 2025 year. That is all we have for donations.
We should be getting, which last year I looked, it was just around this time, the donation from Lake Arrowhead and Secocas Lake. And last year you did $1,200 to St. Matthews. I know it was, this was separate last year. We gave money for the Historical Society, for the Academy. And then we only did the lakes. We did $3,000 for Lake Arrowhead, $3,000 for Secocas, and $1,500 for Pickerel Pond.
So I don't know how the board feels about these donations. I know we probably don't want to wait till the other ones come in. We should probably get
Well,
this.
you can decide
We
if
can
you
just
want
decide a
to,
number.
yeah. I mean, you've done those for a long period of time, so.
And they're all the same, what they were last year?
The one that I did see increase.
Pickerel Pond looks like they're
Pickerel
looking
Pond.
for more,
How much more?
Last, yeah, it looks like they have,
1,000 more.
yeah, last year we gave them 1,500 and they're asking for 2,500, so 1,000 more. We do have a copy of these letters here if you guys want to see them.
Now, the Lake Stewards of Maine, the Volunteer Lake Monitoring Program, are they the ones that monitor?
I don't know, I haven't got that one
They're new, I've
before.
never heard of them.
We've never had
Yeah,
one.
I haven't,
the people that, like, inspect your boat for North Whaling and Northern,
We hire local people for that
I haven't gotten that
Lake-
one
the lake.
before.
association.
So we want to wait, or we want to do these and?
do we want to keep the same prices as the donations we gave last year and then add any of these? I don't know if we want to wait till the formal letter requests come in. But I
You can
definitely,
at least vote on the ones you have if you want.
okay.
I mean, if you want to do the St. Matthews,
So I'd look for a motion regarding the donations. Or should we go by them individually?
is
Okay.
there questions?
I make a motion, we place on the ballot, shall the town raise and appropriate $797 for Life Flight?
I will second that.
We didn't do that one last year.
Any discussion?
Life Flight, 797?
Yep.
That's an odd request.
Did they ask for?
They do it based off per capita.
Okay.
Did they ask for 790, is that the number?
They did, yep.
Yeah.
It's just a weird number.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor? The next one that I have is Lake Stewards of Maine, requesting $500.
I don't even know what they do. Yeah, we've never dealt with them. I mean,
Okay. So I'll give that one to you. The next one is the American Red Cross, requesting a donation of $500.
I make a motion to accept the $500 donation to the American Red Cross.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes. The next one is the St. Matthew Roman Catholic Church for the food pantry in the amount of $1,200.
I make a motion that we place an article on the warrant, shall the town vote to raise and appropriate $1,200 for the St. Matthew's Food Pantry?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? That passes. And the Pickerel Pond Association requesting $2,500. That is an increase from last year of 15. Last year we gave 1,500.
I make a motion, we place an article on the warrant, shall the town vote to raise and appropriate $7,500 for lake activities, $2,500 each for Lake Arrowhead, Secocas Lake, and Pickerel Pond.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, those are the donation requests we have. Select Board Administration is the next on the budget.
That's just, we added in the town manager, so we need to vote on that one. The amount changed.
Just because we added the town manager.
Yeah, so you have a new amount.
Okay. So changes for adding the town manager. And so there is a new amount of a total under Select Board and Administrative Support, total of $197,354.
An additional?
That's the total. Sorry, the additional looks to be 70.
A little bit for FICA.
In a little bit for FICA, 60,000 for the salary and 10,000 for the hiring process, and then a little bit of FICA is what is included in that addition, into the new number.
Make a motion, we approve the administrative report of support and place that on the ballot and recommend a yes vote.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, next is wording on the town manager question.
We need wording. We need what wording we want to put on the ballot.
We haven't had wording before yet, right? No, because it was built into the charter, so.
Did you, I thought you said you got some of that from Ben today. Was that not on
No,
that?
no, weren't gonna send him the town manager, that was on the personnel, that was on the
Oh,
insurance.
shoot.
I can ask him, I thought we were just doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna until you said you had, I thought, I misunderstood what you said earlier today.
Oh, I can ask him, he can easily write that.
Let's
What-
check with him.
Please?
Yes.
Thank you. Next one is the assessing department.
So the budget committee, the last couple of times, has brought up the question, if we want to propose a capital project question about putting in a certain amount into an account for reval for assessing, so then in 10 years, when we redo it, we've got so much in an account and it's not, we need to come up with 175,000 or whatever it is, or cost. So that was a question that they've had that I forgot to bring last time.
So it would be like, shall the town vote to raise, I guess, raise, right? $20,000 a year for 10 years.
And we already have an account for assessing.
Yep.
Especially,
For the actual revaluation, right? We still have that account.
we have a revaluation account.
Yeah. To remember where that is. Because we would just do kind of the same wording we've had on past questions and just, how do we make sure that it's voted on every year?
I personally think we're too early. I think that should be something that'd be done maybe over 5 years.
You mean, so wait,
Wait, we just did it,
so 2029,
2029.
start budgeting for it. Put that in our standard operating procedure documents.
For those of you that don't think we need a town manager,
Haha.
chalk that one up to them.
Was that the only change on that
Yeah,
one?
that was,
Okay.
it was just I left the assessing budget, but
Public areas is the next budget. Do we still want or need the 15,750 in the buildings and grounds?
I don't know if we've talked, like, about this, what we use that for, because that still has quite a bit in it from this year. And I don't know what the initial thought was when we did it in 2024.
Do we add that in 2024?
Yeah, we had 15. I did,
Has it always been there?
no.
No.
Put in last year, and to be quite blunt, none of us can remember why, correct? That's true,
With
right?
it.
It obviously hasn't been used. Is,
I think when I looked at it last, I think there's minimal that has come out of it. I know there was
But- but the-
initial reason that we did it, I just,
I don't think it's a bad idea to have, and we should make a note, but it's not a bad idea to have some money for we have had a lot of kind of unanticipated things that have gone on at buildings and grounds. I mean, the roof at the Moore Building, there's areas that we've had to, fight to find money for.
well, this one can't, like our quotes that we want for our tree cutting here. Can that come out of it?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I know there's some
Yeah,
at the
absolutely.
cemetery that have been talked, but I mean,
This
there's
is a public
several
building.
here that we know were,
yeah, I mean, it's broad, so it kind of helps. I mean,
and I don't know if that was the initial thought when we did it, but.
I think it's a duplication, to be honest with you. I don't know, I can't remember from what.
5% into it, but
Last year was 5. On the green sheet.
last year was 5,000?
Yeah. green sheets. I must have misread it.
The public, you're in public areas, right?
Yeah, that's where I was looking.
Because I have it on the side where I took the numbers from.
I must have looked at it wrong, or maybe we changed it
Of course, I
after.
can't find it. No.
Yeah. I don't know what I was looking at.
Thank you.
Is it 15?
Okay.
Sorry.
I would drop it to 10 and leave it.
I definitely think, I don't know as though, I mean, I think there are several things we certainly can use that for. I just wanted to make sure.
Do we need a motion to drop that to 10, or
Oh, we're dropping it now?
as a recommendation?
Oh, somebody, who recommended that?
John?
To drop it to 10?
10 and leave it.
Missed that, sorry. Is there a second?
Any discussion? All in favor of dropping it to 10? All right, that passes. Thank you. Next, set up an emergency fund account.
Katie, can you want to talk to this, or do you, this is from the budget committee.
So,
It had to do mainly with like EMA expenses and.
so essentially, like what happened after the storm in April, all of these departments overextended kind of themselves because they had to be more abundant for the storm and clean up afterwards. Setting up a kind of like a capital account for it would allow us to put money in a budget that would account for an emergency or the possibility of one. We expect that there will be these situations going forward, where the individual departments aren't having to overexpend on their own accounts. And then what would happen is when FEMA reimburses, it goes back into that capital account. So it kind of, it essentially, the idea is that it will save a lot of chasing paperwork and also,
Yeah.
you know, having to wait for funds to be recovered. I'm explaining that horribly, but
No, because initially, like, we have, you know, Joanne who had to take her money out to do the brush, Scott who had all the brush removal, who had to take that out of his budget at the time. Like, those are all very unexpected things that happened
yeah.
within their budgets that they all had to, and still waiting for FEMA money to come in. So the thought from their committee was if we set up some type of emergency fund and had some money that then they could use, even like if Scott is able to even hire more people to
Right.
come on board to get things done, you know. But
Then when an emergency
When-
happens,
yeah.
they don't have to be slim or, you know, as money, I mean, money conscious is a good thing, but they know that they can prepare for these emergencies or react to them.
and we were talking like transfer, road commissioner, fire.
Yep.
So it dealt definitely EMA. So it definitely dealt with several departments. So it was certainly a suggestion from their part.
Then we just, you know, raise money to put
I was
there.
gonna say, was there a recommendation on about how much? Do we know how much the storm
I think
cost?
they said like,
Well, if you remember, last year, we, probably for the first time ever that I can remember, call it the, not the emergency fund, but we had an article for $15,000, basically for that reason, that the
Contingency,
contingency fund.
yeah.
And I can tell you this, the taxpayers hate contingency funds. They voted out 15,000 last year, and there's always, even when it was 15, people would stand up and yell and scream and want it to be lowered. I think to now try to set another contingency account for something that may happen, if we have that catastrophic event, that we don't have the wherewithal to cover the costs, then we have to have a special town meeting. But, I mean, we're financially strong enough, and I think our budgets are strong enough that we can, you know, cover these things that happen and wait for the money to come in.
Hi.
I offered this opinion Thursday night also, and I'm in agreement with you that we shouldn't budget for an emergency. We should set up an account to collect all the information, however, and not hit the operations accounts because you skew them. You find the cash to pay the bill, and the expense goes negative. And when the state or the federal government reimburses you, you make it good. And you keep track of that and take care of it accounting-wise if you hit an end of the year. You don't let it just go back into the general fund. You take care of it in some way. But that will stop the running around and trying to find all of the invoices that are necessary to send to FEMA or send to the state agency, whoever is reimbursing you. That's what needs to be done. It's an accounting thing because you will find the cash to take care of it somewhere, all right? But it will be reimbursed just like GA is reimbursed. I know you budget for GA, but you know it's happening every year. An emergency, we don't know when it's going to happen. And I don't want my tax dollars sitting in the bank doing nothing.
So set up an account with like $1 in it.
You need to create an SOP to do that.
I know.
Thank you.
Don't worry, I wrote that down.
Katie,
Ah,
we're learning.
Is that something we can do? We don't have to, I don't think we have to do it.
Account doesn't have to be funded with anything.
Right. We can have a zero balance account.
Account has zero balance.
The problem was, I mean, I spent hours and hours of my time, you know, we had to go through Scott's receipts and copy them and find the ones, and then they had to do, you know, so, like, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that, you know, a lot of us were doing, and Julie, that
Hours
it
and
wasn't
hours.
just Scott giving his, you know,
Papers.
weekly payroll, and that was it. I mean, there were a lot of things, and Stephanie and Ray spent a lot of extra time, you know, for stuff that they had to provide for FEMA. So I think there definitely should be some type of plan in place for,
Yeah.
you know,
Imagine if there was a town manager overlooking that. It'd be something they could do in their spare time.
We got to figure out how to word
oh,
that article, huh,
trust
John?
me, yeah.
So, and I've talked with Ray too, you know, right now we don't have a town manager. Standard operating procedures probably get lost, policies, whatever. But I think it's a good idea to put something on paper, and I think I'm going to
Yeah.
try to work with Ray to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thankful that they took on most of the role for that, but
Yeah.
like I said, there was a lot here that the rest of us pitched in
Mm-hmm.
and did do, so. And I know that they're far and few, you don't know, I mean, when these things will happen, but.
No.
I'll just make a note of it, we'll have a plan.
And so we can just set up the account without it having to go out too?
To it for a minute before
Yeah.
we decide on that?
We'll talk about it.
Do we, I mean, we don't have to vote on it today or anything.
All right, the next one I have is the discussion of the housekeeping articles.
We don't have to change, we don't have to spend a lot of time on, if everything is the same, I just need to know, I know to move the dates ahead from what they were the previous year. I just want to make sure we're not changing, adding, that these are all of the same.
Do we want to keep the commitment date of September 1st? I think that worked out good this year, so.
I think we just need to make sure that with the new laws about disposing of land,
Mm-hmm,
that whatever the new statutes are,
yep,
ought to be noted and corrected if there are any.
Updates since last year. I
Updated.
know that we have that.
did that law start last year when we implemented those, or no?
I think they were
Was it
new,
after?
they're new for this year, but I don't know if these statutes are the correct ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they were voted on, but they didn't go into effect until sometime this
After.
year, but Yeah, we can just check to verify.
Okay, but everything else, there's nothing else that's, you guys wanted to see or change, right?
I think everything else looks fine.
Do we want to run Article 9 again,
Yeah,
the contingency?
I think so.
So is that the 15,000? Okay.
The, Article 7M, is it still the 2013 fund balance policy, or have we updated it since and that needs to be changed?
The one,
We have it, and that,
Okay.
I was just thinking, that one,
I think we keep with the, we thought with our town manager would.
can you bring that for next week to look at? And let's see, 'cause
There's a lot to
it's-
do.
some of it's ambiguous, and the wording on it was different in a couple different places, so perhaps it needs to be tweaked a little bit
Okay.
and become the 2024 fund balance policy, who knows? There was different language as to what we should be keeping,
Oh, yes,
right?
I do
Remember
recall,
one of
yeah.
them said- Yeah, I think we might have fixed it, but,
Gotta make sure we have it right.
It looks like when I copied and pasted this too, that I cut off O, which was the one that I think we added last year.
To have the select board annually review with the town's assessing firm, the main revenue services certification of full
Yes.
equalized value. I could read the whole thing.
Yep, so I'll put that back on too.
So, it occurs to me that Article, A through N, we have recommendations by both the board and the budget committee on those. So I was thinking with the revaluation, could we put that as a part of the housekeeping articles? Every, 5 years, beginning 2028, we begin budgeting for, this would be every, not 5 years. Anyways, find some wording for it and put it in there so that it isn't lost in the meantime. Can we do that? Too complicated?
And to me, that's just something that a board should be aware of. If 5 years from now, they should be thinking about, we have, and talking with the assessor, assuming we have the assessing agent.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could,
I know.
it'd be.
We say it every year.
Should we have a tickler filer out back with a lot of, you know what I mean? So who's ever there throws it in it, and the new people get to open it up and see what's there. What did they think of 5, 6 years ago? I don't know. But I don't think, to
I
put it in
gotcha.
here, just,
To bury a new time capsule?
Why are you asking me?
Is it to bury a new one too?
I don't know.
Idea.
Reach out to the Historical Society.
Let me handle that.
So we're just gonna keep them
Nope,
the same?
Perfect, yeah,
Awesome.
I just wanted to make sure those were good, because I'm starting to put the warrant together, so.
And then the last one is any amount designated for old fire station.
Katie, were you here for that part of the budget meeting?
If I wasn't, I heard it.
You did hear it? Because I
Kind
wrote
of
it down the notes, but now I was.
vaguely.
Because we took
So-
it off of the buildings.
I was here, yeah, so we have to budget for, we've obviously, I don't know what you call it,
Winterize it.
that's the word.
So we can take away whatever we had for fuel oil.
Right, so, and water, right? I don't know if that was something we.
I think it's
budgeted
just because
for.
we taken it off the general ledger altogether, so they were like.
We can't take it off in its entirety. I
Because
think.
we have to keep the electric.
Yeah, wherever we keep the more building and,
For it.
We don't have a place for it in the green sheet or
so wherever we have the more building and
put it in there.
all the buildings we don't use, we can put in one pile.
Is all we need need electric for that?
We need electric. We plow it.
But that's under
That's under
plowing
Oh,
contracts.
plowing's in our,
And the heat is still,
The heat's shut off.
I was in there the other day, the heat was blowing.
no, it's off now. He turned it back off. It was
today?
because,
I think they moved the trucks there when they were doing
Yeah.
the floor,
yes.
so they turned it on for that.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, I was in there Saturday and the heat was blowing.
Yeah, it's off, it's off now.
Okay.
Vinny turned it back off today, he said. So how much do we want to budget in there, though? And I'll put it back in the,
Electric, right, would be? Do we just see if, I mean, it's gonna be a lot lower than when they were in the building, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we put in, you know, $2,500 to keep that building, I mean, that shouldn't, all we need is electric. The plowing's in another spot. Insurance is in another spot. There'll be no water bill because the water's turned off. They'll probably give us a standby bill for the water and source. There'll be something there for that.
Maintenance repair.
Well, we put some money aside to get we talked about having a study done before we do anything to it. We have money set aside for that.
question for
This, the March vote?
March, right? Yeah,
March, yeah.
okay. Well, no, I didn't know if you were making it sound like it was,
We voted on that.
yeah, no, I have it down, but I thought you were saying like, it wasn't a question we were,
No,
2,500?
I think that's gotta be plenty.
Yep.
Just in comparison to other buildings, electricity, 690 for the Grange Hall, and that's used regularly, right? I
Yeah,
feel like it wouldn't be more than that.
yeah, I mean, I would think, you know, maybe if we open the building back up, we're gonna want the water turned back on, if we use it for the summer for anything, so I think 2,500 is a fair amount to set aside.
Alrighty. That is it for the budget update and review. Next on here, I have Hollandville update, if Gail would like to speak on that.
Gail Libby. Today, Dirigo Engineering, Community Dynamics, and trustees from the Water and Sewer District met with the auditor that the EPA sent here. They spent about 4 hours. They went over all of the invoices. They went over drawings, engineering specifications, inspector's books, 170 photos, and then they went and walked the sites. The gentleman was very pleased, and I think the report will be favorable. The grant is in the hands of EPA. I gave you, Alicia copied a screenshot of where the grant reimbursement is at. It's going through a process called ASAP, which means as soon as possible, okay? You know, when you read the ads, it says, oh, in 3 or 4 days, you put this in and you're going to have your money. Well, it's been since November, I think. And now it's in the status of waiting for the agency to approve it. So somebody in the EPA has to hit a button and approve it, and then we can hit a button and transfer the money to our account. That's what's left to do. We know that we've sent numerous requests that the Selectboard has signed. We know we've made many calls, including to Susan Collins' office, who called somebody in Washington, D.C. We have talked to EPA numerous times, and we're not sure why it takes so much effort to get somebody to hit those buttons, but we'll try to find out before we do this again. Okay? So that's where it's at, and I think that's good, and I think we have living proof, and if the EPA hits their buttons this week, we might have it by the end of the week, if not next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
Do you have any idea what our cash position is right now?
How much is in it?
Yeah,
Four something is, not that high above what I gave you with your statements last week.
4 million and change,
Yes.
okay?
May I ask another question? When the $1 million is received in the bank, and it's in our checkbook, it's going to be an ACH transfer, what is it going to be put into in the general ledger? Where is that money going to go so we can pay the bills, pay the loan, pay the interest? Is it going to go into the Hollandville account, the fund, in Fund 3, the project for Hollandville?
Well, we should have a loan account.
We do. It says that you owe the bank $300, and I'd like the difference. I'll pay the $300, and you won't owe a thing, okay? The general ledger is incorrect. It was incorrect at the end of 2023, and it's still incorrect. Okay? It says $300. Pipe loan, general ledger. And that happened in 2023.
Well, I can tell you that as of October 22nd,
Yeah?
the balance on the loan was $929,491.42.
Okay.
And we're currently paying just under $3,500 a month
Yeah.
in interest.
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess my question is, if there is some real confidence that that money's coming in,
Yeah.
do we gamble and use our cash that we have? And, I mean, we're paying $3,500 a month in interest, and we have money sitting in the bank that's not giving us any interest. So
That's up to you.
I guess,
It does give you interest through the sweep account.
yeah, but nowhere near what we're paying in
No,
interest.
No.
I mean, so to answer your first question, I would recommend that the minute that ACH hits, that within one business day, the loan is paid off. The balance needs to be paid down. That's a cash movement of money,
Well,
so that's fine.
Accounting-wise, isn't it going to go into the fund and then the corresponding expense account to that fund will show that it got paid? Otherwise, where is it out there? You can't, I mean, I can't even find the loan.
Well, it should be in the loan account, and it's not, but it should be. So if there's some entries that need to be made to move, we withdrew money from that loan. As we withdrew money from the loan, it should have been put into a loan account, not into an income account, because they are. I mean, we know we have some journal entries that need repair. This is certainly one of them. Until those are done, either way, when the money comes in, the loan needs to be paid off the next day, because we don't want to pay any penny more interest than we have to. So where that,
Going to hit the expense account on Hollandville and make it, go into the red? What's going to go?
you're asking, that's really a question for the treasurer on how she handles that.
Okay,
And we know we have some corrections to make on how those loan proceeds were received and where they were placed and how they were doled out. So I don't think you're going to get an answer right now as to where they're going. Okay.
but will it happen at the same time as, it's going to come in and it's going to go out?
Yes,
Is that general ledger going to reflect it correctly?
I can't say that for sure, but what I can say for sure is we will make sure it's paid in a day. And I would rather save the interest. And if we have one more general ledger entry that's incorrect, it's just going to be on top of the rest. So but the important thing is paying it off, in my mind. And the question is, do we pay it off now with monies we have? This time of year, clearly we are cash rich. Our tax anticipation note is good for how long?
The end of this month,
Runs out the end of this month? Okay,
all paid up, and it's 4.7.
excuse me?
We got the 1.7, excuse me, right now, because I've got a call into the bank right now.
The 1.7 what?
Million,
For what?
tax anticipation, we got full access to it still.
Of 1.7 million, okay? And that runs out at the end of the month,
I believe so, sir.
okay? We need to make sure that so if we probably ought to apply for a new one.
Okay?
First thing, be ready to apply for a new one, first thing January 1st.
Okay?
I think we should apply for if we use it, we use it, if we don't, we don't. We have been waiting to the last minute, and it makes no sense. We should apply for a new tax anticipation note January 1st, and if the money is not in by then for the Hollandville, the $1 million, I think we use our cash that we have to pay it off. And if we find down the road we're running short, we have the tax anticipation note to go to. But to pay $3,500 a month, I don't think any of us would be, if you had money in the bank to pay your loan off. I mean, I know some leverage is okay, but we shouldn't be, there's no reason for us to hoard $4 million in cash this time of year when we owe $1 million. So I think we ought to give it till the end of the month and then seriously look at just paying it off. That would give us one more payment and we can be done.
All right, that is all I have for old business. I have nothing under new business. Is there hearing of citizens?
Hi, Morgan Sanders. I'm a resident of Blair Drive, and I just was wondering if there's any update on that. It did start to get plowed, but the back half is not being plowed, which means our garbage and mail won't get picked up.
We have no legal authority to plow the back. So we're coming down Alair Drive and going up each shoot off, and we have legal authority to do that. What you heard earlier was we need to get Casey, who owns the other 3 lots, to give us the same type of easement that you did and all the other owners. Assuming that goes through, then we can continue around the circle.
All right, thank you.
Did she say trash was being picked up?
Hmm?
Did she say trash? Is trash being picked up though now? It's not. Has it been in the last few weeks at all, or no?
Before the snow.
Once,
Just-
we have to call every time, and then they don't answer the phone.
Oh.
So,
I will follow up on that.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, will you leave your number with me before you leave? Because then I can follow up with somebody, because I wanted to have connection.
Anyway, late to the subject, but aren't we doing the whole thing?
No.
Should we have all signed off and
Well, at the time, we got easements from the owners to allow us to maintain, or allow us to, we owned the other lots at the time.
okay?
I think everybody maybe thought that this would have been done by now, and we would have been through it, and we're not. It's just gone on longer than we had hoped. So we have easements in place from all the current homeowners down there,
No, I knew that.
that they gave up their rights to the road and allows us to plow. Now, the lawyer was clear. He said, I'm really not gonna lose any sleep if the plow guy goes all the way around. He said, there's only 2 people that are gonna complain. The person that owns the land, I won't say who he said the other one was.
Casey's gonna Casey's gonna get that
Casey's,
done?
Casey's gonna, did we give her the easement to sign tonight?
I don't think so, I don't know.
There's an easement that Stan has. Stan should have it.
And today.
Okay. She's gonna sign, well, but then it's gotta go to the town vote, so it has to, so we're putting it on this special vote
It's on the town meeting, special town
at the end of
meeting.
the month.
And then that'll take care of the 20 years of the Lear Drive saga.
Well, it will take care of it.
You guys have
Waited this long, it's 2 weeks.
Well, I
It'll-
appreciate, we really truly appreciate
Holy.
that it's being filed right now, so it's really, really wonderful to not have to stress about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we gotta be clear, this is something we're doing now temporarily, hopefully, until the road does get approved, and we can move forward.
I think, like I said, when they heard everything was being developed, and they figured, oh, we're all set this fall.
Yeah.
And just kind of, other than that, it's snowing out. So we just spent 2 hours with a truck and a trailer off the road because they couldn't make the hill, so. One question, Ricky, the 18 years you guys plowed, you plowed and sand at the same time, right?
Are you all set? I see no other hearing of citizens. I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Again.
You're on duty tonight at the fire station.
Not. All those in favor? Thank you.
No discussion after that.